the Biden-Harris administration, the first bill they put on the table was an immigration bill. This has been a really difficult issue to legislate on because the parties have been far apart. And again, I think we saw with former President Trump, there's no deal that he can accept because he prefers the problem.
There you have it. Biden let in, he quadrupled the number of illegal immigrants, and somehow it's Donald Trump's fault.
Let me start by saying I'm not a representative of the Harris-Wallace campaign. I'm a volunteer.
You're not a representative, bro. You're wearing a Harris. I didn't even know they still sold shirts.
Tell them to vote. We'll give you some stickers.
We'll give you some stickers.
Yeah, you want a Harris-Wallace sticker?
I don't know if we want those stickers.
I don't want those stickers, man.
If you have like a sticker with maybe a dinosaur on it, yeah, I would like.
Okay, we have some neat stickers as well. I see. Okay, so we're giving out stickers. Hey, did you texting your friends to vote? Well, I mean, I'm sure you guys are getting a lot of support in this area. Is that correct?
A lot of people are interested in the stickers, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think for sure people are interested in
Harris
supporting the Harris-Wallace ticket.
Right on. Yeah. Nice looking hat. Not as nice as a MAGA hat, though.
You know, I really love videos like this, and what I mean is the people who are super avid supporters of one political side. And the reason I say that is because I would hope these people know a lot about this side that they support. Meaning, if you're walking around with a Harris-Wallace hat or a Harris-Wallace shirt, I would expect you to be extremely knowledgeable on how beneficial this side is. So this is why I like him. Apparently, he doesn't know what he's talking about in this video. I don't know, but let's continue to see if he actually is intellectually honest.
Seems like it's kind of a similar style, right?
Yeah, they're trying. I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not going to say it looks. I'm not going to say the style looks bad, but we gotta swap that out, man. So what's going on? Why are you? We might actually. So why are you supporting Harris and Wallace? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris will make a great president. I think we want 4 more years of good economic progress. We've had wages beating inflation for 2 straight years every single month.
Wages are still down, actually.
Wages are
real wages are still down.
You're talking about over the 4-year period when we were coming out of the biggest pandemic in a century, when we had an economic collapse.
Yes.
We've seen economic growth for 4 straight years. We're beating the projections of the economy pre-COVID at this point, beating every developed economy on the globe.
So Kamala's going to be much better for the economy than Trump, you would argue?
Yes, I very much argue that. I think Trump's tariff plan is very alarming. I think a 20% increase on everything we import is like a lot, it's a global economy here. I think that's really alarming. I think a lot of people here can't afford a 20% increase in what they're paying for groceries or imports, or things they buy on Amazon or wherever. Yeah. In fact, we've seen price increases squeeze people, right?
Yeah.
We don't want that to keep going. I also think Trump's plan to deport 10 to 20 million. He says 20 million. I don't think there's that many undocumented immigrants in the country, but however
minimum over the last 3.5 years has been about 10 under this administration.
Yeah.
So that's on top of what was already here.
Right. To deport that many people, sounds to me like a serious economic catastrophe. Because, a lot of these people...
So you're taking advantage of non-U.S. citizens who don't pay taxes or have Social Security numbers so that they can work for slave wages? Is that what you're saying? And you think that deportation is not inhumane? You didn't even mention that. You think it's bad for the economy because corporations can no longer exploit illegal immigrants for labor. That's why you're defending this. Are you serious? Are you serious? You know what else is bad for the economy? No jobs for American citizens. No homes for American citizens. It's bad for the economy. It's probably not bad for Fortune 500 companies because they don't care. But it's bad for the everyday citizen who has to get up and go to work every day. That's who it's bad for. And I'm sorry that this idea goes against what you're saying, meaning that illegal immigrants can work for less because they don't have to pay property tax or income tax, because how could the IRS know? They're not even a citizen. I'm sorry that this goes against your plan. I really am.
We need the cheap illegal labor for the economy.
I would say that immigration is America's economic strength.
Legal immigration or illegal?
Legal. And I think we need an immigration deal that will actually, solve our immigration problem.
Right. And you had an administration that not only caused this problem, but helped facilitate it when it comes to importing 10 million illegal immigrants. What do you think about that?
That's, I think, the way you phrase it. Immigration's been an issue that both parties have kind of either ignored or used to just get voters and then never tried to solve. And I think the immigration deal on the table is a good one. I think there's more that needs to be added to it.
What are you talking about, the Senate bill?
Yes, the Senate bill. And I think, President Harris said that she would put that bill back on the table. It looks like most Senate Republicans liked it.
Let's talk about that bill.
Sure.
Okay, most Senate Republicans liked it. Who supported it in the Senate? How many Republicans supported it in the Senate then?
Okay, so the bill, before it comes out, Trump tanks it, right? Trump's calling them up, telling them don't pass this bill because he prefers to run on the problem than solve the problem.
Tell me about the bill. What's going on? What is?
Yeah, so the bill would offer the president the authority to shut down the border if there's like too many undocumented crossings in a day.
And how many?
You tell me. Was it 5,000? I don't quote me on that. But the bigger thing is that the bill supports judges and enforcement on the border. So the biggest problem was the asylum loophole.
Yeah.
Immigrants could come in, claim asylum, and it takes like 2.5 years to get a hearing. It used to be like 6 months, and then because of COVID, like the courts were closed, and that just dramatically lengthened the amount of time until they could get their hearing.
Do you mind if I add something to this?
Yeah,
I'll let you
sure.
touch on this because I just want to ask you before I address the Senate bill. Oh, please.
I just want to finish that point because closing the asylum loophole, that was the biggest incentive that led to this rush of people coming in. And if you close that, if people they get a hearing in 6 weeks and then they're either kicked out of the country or allowed to stay, then the entire loophole, the entire reason they're coming in is gone. Yeah. That would, and we've seen like that can reduce the flow of immigration coming in.
So before I address the Senate bill, I just want to ask you, that's 3.5 years in about, what's the reasoning for ignoring the border crisis for the last 3.5 years before that?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think that,
it's an amazing question because there's no answer. There's no answer. You can't defend this. You can't defend it. That's the answer. The answer should have been, man, he shouldn't have ignored it. I don't understand why people have such a hard time with just being honest. One thing I pride myself on this channel for, and it actually hurts the channel, is that I'm very, very honest. I don't show favoritism. I'm honest. I will say, no, that was stupid. That was a bad idea. But I've noticed a lot of the Harris supporters or leftists are just intellectually liars. They're liars. Just be honest. It was a bad thing. Presidents can do bad things. They can do wrong things. No president is perfect. But instead, I bet he's going to try to defend this. If he doesn't try to defend this, you can click off the video.
The Biden-Harris administration, the first bill they put on the table was an immigration bill. This has been a really difficult issue to legislate on because the parties have been far apart. And again, I think we saw with former President Trump, there's no deal that he can accept because he prefers the problem.
Well, let's talk about that because...
There you have it. There you have it. Biden let in, he quadrupled the number of illegal immigrants, and somehow, it's Donald Trump's fault. Somehow, we're blaming illegal immigration surplus on Donald Trump. So let me get this straight. This is a fair question. People get mad at him for deporting illegal immigrants, and they're also mad at him when illegal immigrant surplus comes in the United States? What? You're saying that the surplus of illegal immigrants is also Trump's fault and deporting them is his fault? What? We gotta pick a struggle here. Is it his fault that people are getting deported, or is it his fault that people are here? Let's pick one.
You talked about, okay, well, some Republicans supported the Senate bill. There was one Republican in the Senate that supported the bill. Not a popular bill. And it was when it comes down to that, you had Obama that shut down negotiations. Republicans were actually trying to negotiate the Senate bill, and the bill that they actually didn't negotiate was actually HR 2, 1 year prior, that reinstated policies that were working. You're talking about when Biden and Harris took office, the first thing that they actually did was undo years of effective border policy, not just Trump's, but years of effective border policy, virtually opening up the entire border, reinstated catch and release, pulling out of the Remain in Mexico agreement, all of these things. We had a 40-year low of illegal crossings under Trump and before and after COVID, okay? These policies were working, and then what happened right when they got in office, right? Automatically halted construction of the border wall, reinstated catch and release, which just says, hey, if you come in, we'll let you roam around the country. Yeah. So now we have mass unvetted migration, and all that Senate bill did was codify into law that we're okay with 1.8 million illegals coming to the country per year. That's what it did, and that's why people fought against it. So Republicans, yes. So Republicans were actually trying to negotiate this bill, which was packed with billions of dollars for Ukraine and all that stuff. They were actually trying to, unlike the bill 1 year prior, which was dead on Chuck Schumer's desk. So if anything, that shows me that Republicans were trying to work on it more with Democrats than Democrats were trying to work with Republicans on it 1 year prior. But again, the excuse for opening up the border, and not just that, but saying that there was no border crisis the 3.5 years prior to the Senate bill, what is it?
Yeah. Let me start by saying I'm not a representative of the Harris Wallace campaign. I'm a volunteer.
You're not a representative, bro. You're wearing a Harris. I didn't even know they still sold shirts. I didn't even know they still had that. I think you got a Democrat jacket. I don't even know. You got a custom-made leather jacket with a patch on it. It could be Democrat jacket. You got the hat on, the shirt on. You look like a representative. You got the table set up. Now all of a sudden you're like, no, I don't represent them. Nah, you don't do that. Don't do that. And here's my thing, man. You can still rep their side and admit that they did wrong things. You can do that, right? No administration is perfect. No human is perfect. That's not how we were made. We were made in God's image, but we're not God. We're not perfect. So yes, they made mistakes. But just to ignore their mistakes and blame it somehow, I don't even know how you did it. Blame Trump for illegal immigration. I don't even understand that. I've never even heard that. Like, people blaming Trump for a surplus in illegal immigration of all presidents. Of all presidents, you blame Donald Trump. Okay.
But
I mean, totally. And you're a very friendly guy, but I just want to know.
No, sure, yeah. I want to address that.
What is it?
I want to address that. Yeah. So, the 1.8 number, again, it's not the 5,000 people coming through and then the border shuts down. That was negotiated by one of the most conservative members of the U.S. Senate, and it's not about the number that could add up to. The point being, the limited number of asylum seekers coming in and the increase in the number of judges closes the loophole by which these people could stay in the United States indefinitely, and it removes the incentive for them to cross an entire continent just to get into the country.
Do you mind if I add, the incentive to cross the entire continent is soft border policies that says unvetted mass migration, catch and release is reinstated. This doesn't really justify reinstating catch and release. It doesn't justify pulling out of the Remain in Mexico agreement.
I'm getting to some of that. So you talked about when Trump left office, why there was a surge in migration. I'll give it to you. Some of it was that they tried to, they changed some rules. They were hoping to get a deal done. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a deal done, and I'm hoping we will in the next administration. But
who changed some rules? I'm sorry.
The Biden-Harris administration.
On day one.
So now, the main reason a lot of people came streaming into this country, though, is because our economy came roaring back from the COVID pandemic recession better than any developed country on earth. These people are not coming to take money out of your pocket. They're coming to deliver your food, wash your clothes, care for your kids. These are hard-working people.
I know many of them are, for sure. Yeah. And I think most people acknowledge that as well.
Some of them came and did awful things. We know that. Yeah. That's any 10 million people, you're going to have some kids.
Most of them are hardworking people. I'm going to be honest. That's just factual. Most of them are not criminals. Most illegal immigrants are not criminals. I hope people know that. And they are just day-to-day working. The problem with illegal immigration is that you're appropriating massive amounts of tax-paying funds for illegal immigration. What do I mean by that? When you have a surplus of illegal immigrants, and you have socialist policies for illegal immigrants, because America is both capitalist and socialist, that means that you have to have some sort of housing for illegal immigrants. You have to have some sort of benefit for illegal immigrants. That's the problem. When you have an American class who's struggling to buy housing because housing prices are up, when you have an American class who is struggling to find jobs because there is a semi-job shortage right now for especially college graduates and American citizens, and the unemployment rate was not stagnant, it was going up, then people are going to start looking at the United States government and saying, how come they're getting benefits and I'm not getting benefits? And that's a fair question, because when you are an American citizen, you do have to pay taxes. You do have to play by the rules. If you don't, you will go to jail or you will get your assets seized. So when you see an illegal immigrant, which this is just the truth, they don't have to pay the same taxes you pay. They don't have to pay the same property property tax you pay. They don't have to get a Social Security. They don't have to follow the same laws technically. Well, they do have to follow the law of the land. Don't get me wrong. But there's just a different playing field. And you see them getting benefits. People have a problem with that. That's the biggest issue. It's not that they're criminals necessarily, or it's that they're evil people. It's the fact that they aren't playing by the same rules that Americans are playing by. It's really that simple. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Well, people that aren't supposed to be in the country in the first place, and they're not being vetted at the southern border.
Fair enough, and we should vet people coming. We should have a real policy, and that's why I support Kamala Harris for president of the United States. Because
for the last 3.5 years, unvetted mass migration.
I want an immigration deal. That's why I'm supporting Kamala Harris.
Yeah, he's gonna support Kamala Harris anyways. I don't see him changing his mind. He's already not being the most intellectually honest here. The election is over anyways. We see how it went. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. My name is LFR JoJo, and I'll see you on the next one.